Hold on. So let me guess. You've been playing MK for a couple of months. Maybe you just picked up the game. Or shit, who knows? Maybe you've been playing the game since beta. And shit just hasn't been working out for you. You play Combat League. People corner rape you. They shit talk you. They teabag you. It's ugly. It's very, very ugly. In this video, you're going to go from a Combat League bitch to a Combat League pimp. This is all brought to you by your boy, the hash-slinging masher. So one thing that a lot of people do, I am very guilty of this too. I'm trying to get rid of this. That's why this is the first thing I'm bringing up, is not hit confirming your pokes. There's so many times when I'll play a match and I just get really impatient, right? And I'll like start doing something like, say I'll do a down 4 and immediately go into what I would think would gel. And from right there, if you really break down what's wrong with this, is I'm -7. I'm doing something that comes out in 17. Pretty much that's a huge window for my opponent to just pretty much punish me. Now what you're going to want to do, and this has been helping me out a lot, is you go to random combo and you just get used to how your opponent reacts to your down 4, your down 1, your down 3, whatever your best poke. Right now I'm using Shang, right? He has one of the best down 4s in the game. Way too many mind games to it. So right there, boom, just practice something simple like that, doing a down 4 and then whatever. I fucked up right there. Walk up grab, right there, block, right there, as you just saw. So this is one thing you're going to want to do. Practice hit confirming your pokes. Get good at hit confirming your pokes. Understand that when I do a down 4, there's a bit of pushback. Cool, and I could block and be completely safe. If it lands, then pretty much like understand your options. Understand that I could walk up grab. I could throw a mid at my opponent. If my opponent's respecting me, whatever, like alright, they're blocking that, whatever, I can literally walk up and start doing one of Shang's most deadliest staggers in the game. Like, it's impossible to react to this shit. Is just so good, and just understand your options. So hit confirming your pokes. When that shit lands, do something about it. When it doesn't, block. Just fucking block. It's not worth it, because you're gonna get caught on the way in, and you should not be getting hit for 30 for not hit confirming your pokes. If that happens to you, then I highly recommend practicing it. Start it off slow, off of a down 4, and then go into grabs. You know, if right there, boom, just like that, and just do it over and over. That's all you gotta do. Just keep doing it over and over until you get comfortable with one poke, and you go from another. This it didn't land, boom. It didn't land, boom. Didn't land, boom. And then boom, practice, you know, gelling off of it. It's gonna be rough. I'm finding this to be rough myself. I don't have the best reaction time. It is what it is. But if you keep practicing it, it's gonna save you such a big headache down the line. So definitely hit confirm your pokes, because you should not be getting hit for 30. If your opponent blocks a poke and you try going into something, they should not be hitting you for 30. Like that should not be a thing. Hit confirm your fucking pokes. So there's that. Next, this is something that it's rough. It is very rough to deal with, but dealing with jumping beans. Pretty much opponents that jump at you. One of probably the most common things you'll run into is people that do shit like this. And then they'll jump right after. Let's say we're at this range right here. Melina, for whatever reason, decides to do this, and then they'll jump right after. That is such a common thing that a lot of players do. For the simple fact that there's space in between. Oh, she does that. Oh, she's probably gonna be negative or whatever. Time for me to go in. And then they'll jump. And then as I'm going in, I'll get caught or whatever. When it's a situation like that, what you should be doing. Let's say if I'm Shang, right? And I do these bad boys. Oh, right, Jesus Christ. I forgot that shit goes right over her. If I do something like this, right, it's neutral. Like, I don't have to put myself at risk and do that. You're getting greedy there. When you do stuff like this, and then you jump, you're being very greedy. Because you automatically think that your opponent's going to walk up and try to get their turn back, and then you get a free, you know, jump in mix up or whatever. That's not the case. If, let's say if I do this and I jump right after, if my opponent decides to like backdash, and they could possibly whiff punish you, or they could just anti-air the shit out of you. You're vulnerable. There's nothing you can do while you're up in the air. Like, you're fucked. So when you do stuff like this, don't be afraid to block or step back and see how your opponent reacts to that. Now, another thing, if your opponent does that to you, you know, block there. There's a good chance your opponent's going to jump at you, get the anti-air, you get really good damage off of it. If not, they'll break out. They have no bars. With Shang, for example, he has three, I want to say two actual meaties. Like, this is an actual meaty, and this is an actual meaty when they're waking up, and they have no bars. They're pretty much fucked, whether they delay it or not. So understanding a situation like that is really important. It is very, very important. Not only that, but, you know, if your opponent starts hitting you with shit, it's okay. Step back, reset neutral. Be comfortable playing neutral, you know. A lot of people are just always trying to get these jump-ins for the simple fact that they're free mix-ups. Not only that, if it lands, and then it's a bit more extra damage, you know. Because if you land something like this or whatever, it's more damage than just doing it grounded. And people just love damage in this game. So just understand that. If you're throwing projectiles at your opponent, you know, be patient or step back, reset neutral, you know. But if your opponent's hitting you with projectiles, don't get impatient and just jump after them or just start trying to get your turn back automatically. If there's a good amount of space in between, understand your opponent's projectile. If their stuff is super unsafe, yeah, maybe close in on them. Just, you know, be patient. But, you know, if they're like, what, -6, -8, whatever, it's not worth it, because there's a good chance that, you know, you're not going to get your turn back, and you're just going to walk into shit. You're pretty much going to walk into shit. You're going to walk into your opponent's buttons. It's not worth it. So understand that. This is such a common thing. I see this all the time, and then they'll just jump right after. Like, somebody will do something like this, and then they'll jump immediately right after. So there's that. It's okay to take a step back. If they hit you with some chip, that's cool. I much rather take some chip than put myself at risk for being greedy, and then they'll hit you and you'll get frustrated. It's like, oh, then you'll call them pretty much a zoner boner because they're hitting you with projectiles. You're trying to get your turn back, and you know it's not your turn. It's not, if there's a lot of space in between, it's up for grabs. It's a scramble pretty much, and there's a good chance you're going to lose. So there's that. Now, the next thing that, you know, I definitely see this happen a lot is knowing when to truly grab. One of the most common things that people do when they'll knock somebody down, or you'll wake up, like let's say Melina knocks me down, right? Let's make Melina, right? One of the most common things is wake up armor and then grab, right? That is such a common thing. People love doing that, and I don't blame them. It's just boom, you get some hit advantage, you get a grab. There's a good chance that you're going to get uppercutted. A lot of people, myself included, I used to just do very brain dead shit when it comes to grabbing people, and just grabbing people at the most obvious times ever. Like, I swear to God, it would just be super, super obvious. For example, like if I'm getting my turn back, if Melina does something that it'll make it her turn back, I'll automatically, let's say Melina does this to me, right? Right? So, boom, I fuck up, and then boom. That I've seen this screen so many times. I try grabbing, boom, I get clipped. In this situation right here, boom, I could just easily step, oh my fault. Step back, boom, whip punish right there. Oh, my fault. Boom, just like that. Or another thing I could do is, boom, if I have a 10 frame mid, go right into it. Like, there's nothing she could do right there. There ain't shit she could do. Boom, go into that right there. And another thing is, if they're uppercutting after they do certain strings, here's a little trick. So when you're blocking, what you need to do is hold down the block button and forward at the same time. And then immediately when it's over, that's pretty much what's going to happen. That right there. Instead of getting uppercutted, boom, just like that. Or a back grab if you think they're going to grab you. Boom, see that right there? Instead of this shit happening, and then you try right there, one right there, boom. Instead of that happening, what you do is hold down the block button, right? And then as you're holding the block button down, you're still pressing forward, right? And boom, you just grab them. But that if she uppercuts, yeah, they're gonna take that. But if they go for any other poke, you're gonna grab them or anything else. The only thing they could do out of that situation is jump. Now, if your opponent is jumping, and it's a common thing, just go into your mid. That is another thing that I feel like a lot of people, you know, need to start doing and understanding for certain characters. Like for certain characters, it's very easy to do, like with Jax or Cassie. But if your character has a slow mid, it could be very, very rough. In that situation, you're kind of limited. One thing you could do, you could literally backdash. But the problem with backdashing, let's say Melina, she just says, nope, boom, I'm going to get clipped. I'm going to try to backdash, I'm going to get clipped. But if I do a short hop, they're going to get clipped. If I do a forward grab, whatever, boom, I could beat that out or whatever. But if I go into my mid, boom, that'll work. Or if I go to my down 4, or it could be a sneaky little shit, a down 4 lift, you know, boom, that will work. So don't be predictable when hitting your opponent with a grab. You could easily stagger a mid. It just depends on the character, really. Like with Shang, one thing I would do is immediately go into this guy. This will be your best option right here. You could either go into the low overhead, a little monkey, or you could do the double sweep right here, or I could do a down 4. Just keep it very simple and safe. So that's one thing you could do. Another thing you can maybe do to mess with your opponent is just jump. And you know, if they're not anti-airing you, that's another thing you could do. I see a lot of people do, like let's say Melina would do something like this, right? She'll do this, and then she'll mash that shit, right? That is a punish right there. You see that? Understand your options, like understand them. Because if I try doing this backdash, like it's just not gonna work. So one thing you could do is that right there. But what if Melina tries jumping, right? That is another thing that people are doing. Boom. And you gotta be ready for that. Right there. Boom. Whatever. Get ready for that. So that is one thing. Don't be brain dead when like your opponent, it's clearly your turn. It's like they're setting you up. If like Melina does something that is clearly the end of her turn, she's either going to jump or uppercut you. You got to understand that there's a little technique to actually getting that grab. Not only that, but if your character has a good mid, you got to use that mid. You got to stagger that mid, going for a grab. Or, you know, that is another option. You could definitely jump over them if you think they're going to press. Now, if you think your opponent is going to respect you, then you could obviously get that backdash and, you know, wait for them to react and then hit them. That's another thing. And short hop could also be your best friend. So there's that. Don't always go for the grab when, you know, it's obvious. Like, there's just so many times where it's obvious, go for the grab, and then they just get the read on you and you'll get hit. This is something that I'm definitely working on myself. Sometimes it's just like, oh, it's just so tempting to get that easy ass 13%. So there's that. So here's just some tips. If you guys want more of these types of tips, let me know. But yeah, I think this is definitely a good place to start. These are some, I don't want to say they're too common, but I definitely see this a lot, and I definitely don't see that many people talking about these situations right here. So hopefully you bastards enjoyed. Hopefully you haul back. Check you bastards later. Deuces.